Aric was a magnificent hawk, the undisputed king of the mountain peaks. His wings were broad, his vision piercing, and his hunting unmatched. He ruled the skies with fierce precision, never missing a thermal current, never failing to spot the smallest movement in the valleys below. He was proud, powerful, and lived by his own absolute control. But Aric was not at peace. His greatest strength, his complete mastery of the sky, was also his greatest torment. He hated the unexpected, every gust of wind that wasn't to his liking, every cloud that obscured his view, every storm that forced him to shelter, filled him with a bitter, simmering rage. He saw the world as an enemy constantly trying to diminish his power. He spent his days not soaring in joy, but battling the very air he breathed, mentally cursing every imperfection in the sky. He was the king of the peaks, but a prisoner of his own demand for perfect conditions. One terrible season, a relentless storm front settled over the mountains, lasting for weeks. Aric was trapped, huddled in a small, damp cave, shivering and hungry. His pride was shattered, his power useless. He cursed the heavens with every beat of his furious heart. In his despair, he heard a soft, rhythmic scratching sound from a deeper part of the cave. He crawled towards it and found a small, old owl, barely visible in the gloom. The owl was using its beak to meticulously carve tiny, delicate patterns into a smooth stone, humming a low, tuneless song. Aric scoffed. "How can you carve? How can you hum?" he demanded, his voice hoarse with anger. "The world is ending. The sky is broken. We will starve in this darkness." The old owl, named Lyra, calmly looked up, her large, luminous eyes holding a deep, unperturbed stillness. "The sky is not broken, young hawk," she said softly. "It is simply ... changing. Changing." Aric shrieked. "It is tormenting us. It has stolen my sky, my hunt, my very freedom. I curse this storm. I curse every moment of this prison." Lyra nodded slowly. She did not give him a direct answer. Instead, she picked up a piece of smooth, dark obsidian from a pile beside her. "You," she said, her voice a gentle rustle of dry leaves, "are a magnificent hunter. You see every mouse in the valley. You see every opportunity for power, but you only see the surface." She then carefully picked up a small, dull-looking stone, no different from hundreds of others in the cave. "I," she continued, "am just an old owl. I cannot hunt like you. My vision is not as sharp, but I have learned to see this." She held up the dull stone, "and I have learned to thank it." Aric stared, utterly confused. "Thank a useless rock? What good is that in a storm?" Lyra smiled, a slow, deep, knowing that seemed to emanate from her very being. "When the sky is clear, Aric, you hunt. When the sun shines, you soar. You give thanks for the bounty. But what do you give thanks for when there is no bounty?" She began to rub the dull stone against the obsidian, a soft, persistent friction. "This cave, this darkness, this forced stillness. You curse it. But look closely, young hawk. When the sky is clear, what do you overlook?" As she spoke, tiny sparks, almost invisible, began to fly from where the two stones rubbed together. "The spark," Lyra whispered. "The heat, the quiet moments, the insight, the gratitude for simply being, the ability to turn the friction of the hardship into a spark of creation, even in the darkest cave." Aric watched, mesmerized, as a faint, glowing ember, barely larger than a speck, appeared where her hands met. "You cursed the storm," Lyra said, gently blowing on the ember until it grew a little brighter. "But the storm is not the end of the sky. It is the beginning of the spark. The darkness is not the enemy. It is the canvas upon which the light can finally be seen. I do not pray for the sky to be perfect. I simply find a use for the darkness it provides." Aric felt a strange shift within him. He had been so busy raging against the storm that he had never looked inside the storm. He had cursed the darkness, never realizing it was hiding a different kind of light. He was trying to force the world to be a clear sky when its destiny had changed. When the storm finally broke, days later, Aric emerged from the cave. He was still a magnificent hawk. He still hunted, but his flights were different. He no longer cursed the unexpected gusts. He used them. He no longer raged at the clouds. He understood they were part of the vast, ever-changing dance. He stopped demanding the sky give him what he wanted and started thanking the present moment for what it could offer, even the quiet moments of forced stillness. The other hawks still knew Aric as the king of the peaks, but they also noticed a new, deeper serenity in his eyes, born not from endless bounty, but from the wisdom of the spark. This is the story of our lives. We are given a vast sky, and we demand that it be eternally clear. When the inevitable storms of life come a lost opportunity, a setback, a period of darkness, we fall to our knees and curse the tempest. We spend our energy begging for the life we had, blind to the insights and inner strength that are trying to be born in the shadows. The secret is not to pray for a perfect, unbroken sky. The secret is to change our perspective, to see the darkness not as the end, but as the canvas, to stop cursing the storm and start looking for the spark. Gratitude is not just for the sunshine, it is for the friction. Because the challenge, the darkness, the place where you feel broken, is the very place the new light begins to glow.